Hello everyone, good evening, and this is Dr. Pravin Parmar. I am from Vyapar Jagat TV, and today we have someone who is very special, who builds the future. I mean, who is into digital transformation, who is into technology, and as you know, technology has impacted a lot, and technology has changed a life of everyone. I mean, so the technology is something which is again, when we say technology and change, so change is the constant, and the same way, technology is something which is constantly revolving. I mean, it is getting changed on every day, and I don't know what is going to happen in the future. And we have Mr. Karthik. So Karthik has joined from Sublimis Technologies, and we are going to discuss, sort a lot of things today. And so mainly, we want to know first who Karthik is and how he is running his business, right? And there are a set of questions I have for him for, regarding the technology and what future Karthik sees in the technology. So let's start with the, the candid discussion. And yeah, so welcome to Vyapar Jagat TV, Karthik. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining today's session, Karthik.
It's absolutely my pleasure, and thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Certainly looking forward, Karthik. And Karthik, so let us start with your journey first. I mean, so you can introduce yourself, and you can take us tell. I mean, you can tell more about your background, how you have
Sure.
started your venture, why you have started your venture, and what are the set of stories, if you have any, you can tell during the story. So you please go ahead and tell us your story in a brief. Yeah, yes, Karthik, over to
Sure,
you.
sure. Thank you very much. So, thank you again for the opportunity. My name is Karthik Venkataraman. I have about 25 years of experience in technology. So, I've been building and implementing technology solutions globally, not only in India, but globally over the last 25 years. Right? By qualification, I'm an engineer and I'm an MBA in finance, but I have worked in about three companies for the last over a span of about 23 and a half years. So having worked for the last 23 and a half years, we are a set of four co-founders. The four of us were thinking amongst ourselves, like, there is so much to do for the MSMEs and the SMEs today, right? Because they do not have an affordable technology platform today. Because none of them can afford the large implementations, ERPs, you take it SAP and Oracle, while they are brilliant platforms. We thought of addressing the gap, the technology gap which is there for the SMEs and the MSMEs. And that's how the background of Sublimis is, and that's how Sublimis was formed. So our motto was to revolutionize the SME ecosystem through our digital roadmap, right? And having implemented and worked on different platforms, we thought the best was for four of us to put our hands into this and give something back to the industry in terms of technology. What is affordable, what is scalable, and people only pay for what they use. Because we have seen in our earlier avatars, while people buy a lot of tech solutions, they hardly use 10%, 25% of the entire solution. And they don't implement it on time. They don't utilize the capability of the platform because the business need is not there. So there's always a gap between what the business needs and what a technology platform can actually fulfill. That since we've experienced that ourselves in our earlier avatars, we said the best is for four of us to get into this and build something which will help the MSME and the SME sector. And that's how we formed Sublimis. So basically, we identify the need for business continuity and growth, and has become the technology enabler for businesses across sectors, and we want to make them market and cost efficient and giving them a bigger or a higher market reach. We want to give them the automation and the scalability, which today is a challenge amongst the MSME and the SME sector globally. So we wanted to do something make in India for the globe, for the world. And that's how Sublimis was formed.
Superb, superb, and givers gain, giving something back to the society is a very right approach, and that is how we are contributing to building nation, right? And
Absolutely.
that's really inspiring, Karthik. So Karthik, I was before your interview, I mean before this particular interview, I was just going through some of the IT surveys, and I found one of the surveys which was done by Gartner. Okay, and Gartner, as you know, that it's a very popular name across the world. right? And there was a survey wherein 74% IT implementations, as far as what you are doing, I mean, into the business solutions, where it comes to the CRM, it comes to the business applications, ERP, business intelligence, or sort of tools business applications, right? So 74% implementations, or the projects are getting literally failed, right? So we want to understand from you that what is your percentage in your organization, and how you try to make it more, something wherein we can reduce this particular number. And what are your thoughts about the project implementation methodologies are concerned with Sublimis technologies? Yeah.
Yes, so you're absolutely right in saying that, and the report is absolutely bang on, because we have experienced that, as I mentioned in the previous avatar, and that's how we decided to form Sublimis. See, the gap is because the business expectation is completely different and the technology delivery is completely different. And we are not saying that the business is right or the technology is right. The gap is always there, because what happens is when you evaluate a product, you only see at a very top level in terms of your needs. But when you actually drill down, you find a lot of gaps, and that's how the technology implementations fail. Number one. Number two, there is a gap between the actual business domain expertise and the actual technology people and understanding what the needs are. So this gap is always there and will always be there until and unless we do the reverse. That is, we make components. And Sublimis, I just go a step back, and why we are doing this for the MSME and the SME industry. See, first and foremost, the MSME and the SMEs, they cannot afford to have a consultant who will study what their business is and then identify what solution has to go to them. So they cannot afford to have a consultant. So they know what their business is. We also know that this industry is the backbone of the Indian economy. So they're contributing nearly to 37% of the GDP. They account to about 45% of the factory output and all. However, they have always been failure in terms of choosing the right technology for this industry, because the choices are very, very limited and the affordability is not there. Hence, they're not able to scale up. And we are talking about 50 million enterprises here, and which is already and growing by the day. There's so many startups coming, right? And they employ over 110 million people in this category. So this gap, so why the big projects fail is basically because of this gap. And what we have done is we have offering two platforms, the SaaS based. So one is called Emporium. Emporium is a business and an e-commerce platform. And second is called Brahmand, which is mainly for the travel and hospitality industry. Right now, what we do is we make components and for the functions. And depending on what the business the client is into, we configure that for them, only the components what they need. Like, for example, if there are 10 components, every business will not need all 10 components, like how a product is sold. That's why we are a SaaS-based platform. When you buy a product, like it's for example, today, when the cable TV started, there were 1,000 channels. Whether you see all 1,000 or you don't see all 1,000, you pay for all 1,000 channels. But today, what has happened is you only pay for the channels you watch. That's exactly we have modeled our platform. So you pay for what you need. Number one. Number two, you don't need an external consultant or an implementation partner to implement this. It's completely configurable. We do it sitting with our clients. So when we meet our clients or when we meet our prospects, we don't actually go and tell them what the platform can do for them. We first understand what they do. After understanding what they do, we then do a demo basis how their business runs. And that's how we allow them to choose components. And that is why we have a near 100% of implementation success today. Right. And mainly because we are a startup. We are just 15 months into this industry. And out of the 15 months, we have spent 7 months in getting the initial MVP out. And we have in the market for the last 8 months. And we have successfully implemented over 35 clients across the world in a short span of about 6 months. Thereby demonstrating that our approach towards the platform, our approach towards technology and business is in the right direction. And these clients are across all verticals, be it retail, be it manufacturing companies, fintech, education, wellness, service industry. So we have travel and hospitality. So we have a good mix of clients, both in India and outside India, who are using our platforms.
Superb. And as you have said, you are always, keep trying to make the customer success. That's really inspiring, Karthik. So Karthik, how do you find new customers? When we talk about acquisition of new customers, right? So what are the basic sources of yours, and are they all domestic? And when you say you are also working for the international customers, so how do you find new customers from the other countries especially? Yeah.
Yeah. So having been in this industry or working for different companies for the last 23 and a half years has given us a good network, not only in India, but outside India also. Okay. And we believe a lot in reference. So we are a part of an institution called BNI, and you are aware about BNI, right? So there is where we get a lot of reference. I'm also a part of something similar, but not from like a BNI, but it's more on a technology forum, travel and hospitality. And having spent 20 years in the travel and the hospitality industry, we have a very good connect. So today, whatever business we are getting is actually more referral driven than lead driven. We do have our social media marketing and lead generation process in place. But currently, whatever we are doing, it is only between two out of the four co-founders. Two co-founders are involved in business development, and all the business development is being only done with the two of us. Whereas the balance two co-founders do the implementation, development, the UI, UX, and implementation, and the project management. So that's how the four of us have distributed our responsibilities. And then we have a team of able developers and integration partners and project managers who help us do the entire implementation. So to put it in very simple terms, our 90% of business is referral generated and 10% is lead generated. But it will always change as we go forward because we are just 9 months into this journey.
No, superb, Karthik. And so, Karthik, now my next question is related to when you have used the word team, right? So, how do you manage team? I mean, and I have also spent 15 years in the corporate, so I also aware that everybody is talking about the culture, right? Everybody is talking about the employee management, and so when we have the culture, so what are your thoughts about the culture in the organization as far as the employee retention is concerned or employee management is concerned, please?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good question, and it's actually the most important thing today because any brand which is established is all because of team, people, and actually people who are working tirelessly to ensure that the customer success is achieved so that the brand grows. And we are no different. So we give a lot of importance to employee and employee management. So we believe in innovation. We believe in open discussions. So even though there was this lockdown period where there was work from home, we always ensure that we have a team bonding session either on Teams or Zoom, whatever tools we use to connect the employees. We ensure that we give different projects to people so that they also get a feel of different verticals. We encourage them to innovate. We encourage them to participate in group discussions. We also ensure that the team which is actually actively working on a project also interacts with the customer team so that they are completely involved in the project. So things like team building, training, ensuring that they are updated to the latest technology trends, encouraging them to read, to find out what is happening in the industry in terms of technology awareness. So all that we encourage people to do. And we follow a very open culture. So there is no sir, there is no madam. So just we all call each other by our first names. And we ensure that we all working together at the same time with only one vision, which is the vision of the company. And the advantage being we ourselves have been employees for over 23 years in organization. So we exactly know how employees feel and how to treat them and how to manage them. So even though our team size is small, we are about 15 people, but yes, there's a lot of open culture focus, and we encourage them to deliver their best, and we ensure that they are given the requisite break. So we only work for 5 days a week. So even that they have to recharge themselves so that every Monday they come fresh and they can put their best. So that's how we treat people. And yes, this is an integral part of any company today. We have to be open. We have to actually show them show them the path so that they work to the success of the organization. Because client success is the success of the company, and there is no second thoughts about that. Super. And this is also demonstrated because most of our clients have come back and taken more and more components from us. So that trust factor is already there. It's all thanks to the employees who are working tirelessly for us. Be it lockdown, no lockdown, technology work will never stop because it's a maximum load of the technology sector right now.
And I'm sure, Karthik, you must be having some sort of celebrations also, wherein as far as the the anniversaries or the birthdays or
Yes.
the performance achieved, target achieved, goal achieved, anything happens, right? So we
Four
always try to
four
celebrate it,
celebrations.
right?
Four things we celebrate and celebrate very well. One is birthdays of the employees. Second is client going live, and the client goes live. And then anniversary, since you've completed the first year of the company, and any employee testimonial which we get where we celebrate. So yes, there are milestones, and then definitely there are festivals where we have the traditional day where we go out as a team and we do some offsites and all that.
Superb. And Karthik, so when it is also said wherein when we talk about the culture, so the culture is is the language, right? So what language we use, it makes the culture of the organization. And with related to this, I have a question for you, wherein see, there are several terminologies we used. When we call the employee, right? Or so there are let me try to give you two three terms. One is people say this is my staff. Some says these are my colleagues. Some says these are my team members, right? Some says these are my employees, right? Some says these are my knowledge workers, because today these people are the knowledgeable. I mean, we are working with the knowledge people, right? So people says knowledge workers, or some says these are my laborers, my workers. So what terminologies you are using in your organization and why?
Yeah. So we follow two things. One, we call people by the first name. So whenever somebody comes and says, this is Karthik, this is Avatar, or so and so. Number one, we call them innovators, and we call them as client success people. What do you call the client success team? Because be it anyone and everyone, they have some role to play where we ensure the client success. So we use the names directly. We call them innovators. So they are a bunch of innovators, and we call them as the client success team. So we use the word team a lot. So the direct name and team. So that is what we follow. Nothing else. There is no sir, there is no madam, there is no owner, there is no employee, nothing like that.
Superb. And so this particular interview, I think your customers, your team members, everybody is watching. And again, we this particular interview will be live on Vyapar Jagat TV. So a lot of viewers are viewing, and viewers, if you have anything for Karthik and me, you can put it in the comment box, and Karthik and me will get back to you with whatever sort of queries you have. And I have three more questions which are not related to Karthik, and that is something which is about the general views about technologies. And my next question is Karthik, to you is how do you predict technologies by 2030? And so why I'm asking you this question, let me tell you. So someone has asked this particular question, not exactly this question, the year was different, to Steve Jobs. And someone told that what do you think by 2010, how, or probably 2005, how technologies will be? And as far as the personal computer is concerned, how the personal computer will be in 2005, right? And at that time, I think that interview was recorded in 1988 or something. And the at that time, Steve Jobs says, I think in 2005 there will not be any sort of the personal computer, right? And that's what we see today, wherein the personal computer has been replaced by laptop and mobile devices, right? So that's how it has revolutionized. The same way, my question to Karthik is, how do you predict technologies by 2030, or even you can say by 2050?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So one thing the pandemic has taught, certain businesses which have never thought that they would do anything online have made it possible because of technology. And I'm talking about the education industry here, right? Because you also are aware that for the last 1.5 years, no schools, no colleges, everything has moved online. Okay, a lot of meetings of associations, take for example, I represent BNI, even that, everything, and it has demonstrated that choosing technology the right way can actually do wonders for your business, right? And looking at the future, where we are talking about augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, ML, data science, and also data science is going to play a very important role. One thing people don't actually do well is massaging the data. There is data. How well you utilize that data to your advantage is something which is going to be the next set of importance. Because for you to take any decision, be it business business or not. You need data in the correct form. So talking about future, yes, it's going to be virtual reality that you can actually see how something is without having to go and visit. You're sitting at your home, now who must have thought that today, how many of us have not gone to the theaters for so long? Everything is OTT based. So, there is constant change. And thanks to the pandemic, or a lot of things have actually moved faster than what one would have thought would have happened. So coming to 2030, we possibly may have drones. We'll have you may not have delivery boys. So for Zomato and Swiggy, you may have drones actually doing the delivery, right? So okay, you are in a era of digital. So possibly your phone will become everything. No passport, nothing. Everything is in your digital wallet. You travel paperless. You don't need a passport. You don't need anything. So your Aadhaar card becomes a digital card on your phone. You just So there are a lot of things which are going to change, and I think technology, if used the right way, can actually solve a lot of problems, improve the speed, save time, and even in the medical field, we all know what we all underwent for the last year and a half. Possibly there will be new things coming where people do not have to face those challenges what we have faced over the last 6 months, 7 months. So, in a nutshell, yes, it's going to be an era of complete digital transformation. There will be virtual reality, augmented reality, data science playing very important role while making contactless communication possible. Yes, people still need to network. They need to meet face to face. So, certain things we should remain face to face, certain interactions.
No, superb. Karthik, you have answered rightly, I think. And Karthik, so one more question, which is, which is about the India, wherein, these days we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. These days we are talking about, self-reliant India and
Yes.
Make in India, right? So as far as Make in India or the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission is concerned, my question is, as far as IT is concerned, right? So a lot of tools and the softwares we are using which are not made by Indian. Okay, so probably maybe it is made by the Indian because a lot of Indians are working in other countries.
Yes,
But
made by Indians for others.
Yeah, so but when I say the India, so the Indian companies they have not designed it, they have not developed it, right? So what do you think? I mean, when India will have such a time when India will have all tools operating their own operating system, their own browsers, their own set of the mobile platforms. What are your thoughts about it, Karthik?
I think it'll happen sooner than later. This pandemic has taught, especially when a lot of things from China got banned, a lot of Indian owned apps have started. I would say Paytm is a very big example of make in India, right? Then coming to CRM, Zoho CRM, or the Zoho as a company, is completely Indian company, started long back, right? And Sublimis we have formed exactly for that reason. So we wanted to do something make in India, where we are giving a complete e-commerce and a business commerce automation platform for clients, a SaaS-based platform, and Brahman being for travel and hospitality, again made in India for the world. So yes, things are moving in that direction, and we are very happy to be one small dot in this ocean where we contribute to the Make in India success, and that's what it is. You will see a lot of apps coming, so you will have an alternate to a Facebook, you'll have a alternate to a Insta very soon, and people are working on it as we speak. So there are a lot of things in the agro IT sector which is being done in as Make in India initiative. So be it in solar energy space, be it in agriculture. So there are a lot of startups and a lot of people with brilliant ideas, walking the journey of Make in India. And I think over the next 3 to 4 years, you will see a lot of Indian owned applications or platforms or SaaS-based platforms, which will basically be adapted by the world.
Super.
We are moving in that direction.
Superb, superb. No, I think you are very right. Wherein in upcoming time it should happen, and we all are looking forward to have that particular time, because then it will be something where we have control over the data what we are having, and sort of other many things as far as technology is concerned.
Absolutely.
Correct. And so Karthik, my last question of this particular session, and the question is, what message do you want to convey to new entrepreneurs or the early risers, startups, especially those who are just entering into digital transformation, those who are just entering into the information technology? So, do you have any message or set of tips you want to give them? So please
Sure.
share so that we can that way help them to start with whatever they are doing. They can start with those notes. Yes, please.
Absolutely. So, my only advice is that focus on your vision. You have your vision. You know what to do. There will be hurdles. See, there is nothing without challenges. Challenges will come. It could be monetary challenges. It could be things like a pandemic, which is beyond our control. But don't lose hope. Don't lose your vision. Okay, be a very great leader. Believe in your team. Encourage teamwork. Okay, and keep your vision intact. Always have a plan B and a plan C. Don't go only with one plan, because things as you go, nothing is static in this world today. Everything is dynamic, including business models, including environment. Everything is changing rapidly. So be flexible, but don't lose focus of your vision. So that is the advice that I want to.
Super. It's a great message for all the.
Yeah, and it's also important to fail at times. People think failing is like you lose everything in one. It's not that. The greatest learner in today's life is failure. So you learn from failures, and failures help you to grow. We have also failed a lot of times in certain things which we do, but we always have a plan B and a plan C. So don't look at failures as the end thing in life. So it's important to fail, because that teaches you how to grow. So
but
keep
there
that in
should
mind.
be an intention to fail, right?
Correct, correct.
Super, Karthik. Thank you so much for joining in today's session, and it was wonderful talking to you, and a lot of
Same
new
here.
things we have learned personally. Even I have learned from you. Yeah, it was great time with you, Karthik. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your insights. Right. Thank you so much, Karthik.
Thank you very much for having me again. Thank you again for the opportunity.